Hi, we are Olmo del Corral and Stephanie Tisler, and today we are going to present you Charting, our amazing technology for creating charts. Charting is one of the extensions in Signum extensions, and is built on top of Signum framework. Using Charting, we can create custom charts in seconds, because the user interface let us design the chart and define the database query at the same time. In this video, we are going to use solving example application to learn how to use this amazing tool.
We will also learn what kind of chart is more appropriate for our data and what we're trying to show. If you haven't looked at the search control tutorial yet, I recommend you to do it first.
Let's get started. You can access the chart designer from any search control using the chart button, or directly from the Omnibox writing chart and the name of the query. So chart order.
The chart designer is divided in 4 areas: filters, chart selector, chart settings and result. Filters work exactly as in the search control. In the chart selector, we can select the kind of chart we want to create. Then the selected chart will determine the options we have to configure in the chart settings. The most important ones are the database rows that we're going to use.
Once the chart is ready, we can press Draw to execute the query and see the results. Easy. We will start with a simple pie chart. This chart is going to group the results by the expression in sections and aggregate another value in the angle, typically counts or sums. Let's group the results by employee and show the number of orders each employee has attended. Whoa, how long it takes to create a chart? 2 seconds?
In the Data tab, we can see the results of the query. We can even export them using Excel module.
As usual, we can click in the link to see the related entity. In this case, the employees we have grouped by. Let's order the results a little bit. The pie chart is the best chart to compare each section with the total, but not to compare any section with another. Here we can clearly see that Margaret, Janet and Nancy have attended half of the orders, and Margaret alone almost a quarter, like Stephen, Anne and Michael together. But it's much harder to see how much bigger is Margaret's than Janet's. Let's try with a different one now.
1 second. Notice how, while pie is selected, there are chart types that are also light blue. These chart types are compatible with the current data, so we can switch the design faster without querying the database.
With column chart, it's much easier to see that Nancy and Janet have attended almost the same number of orders, and Margaret almost 25% more.
By the way, look how by clicking in one column we can drill down to see the exact orders that represent this group in a search control. And from here, we could create another chart. Cool, huh?
Okay, but we have just a few employees here. What if we group by customer instead? Now the bars are much thinner and the names are not written anymore. If we hover with the mouse, we get a nice tooltip, but the overall picture is missing. With the pie chart, looks even worse. But if we try the bubble pack, we can see a nice organic-like set of bubbles, each one with an area proportional to the number of orders. Bubble pack is suited to represent lots of groups. We can also sort the results to get some nice looking spirals. Tree map also works nice for many groups, using a rectangle layout instead of bubbles. But tree map has a special superpower. Allows nesting some groups inside of other groups.
The question mark in parent means that this token is optional. If this token is provided, the design will change, but it's not mandatory.
Let's group the customers by country as well. As you see, now the customers are placed by country. Nice, isn't it?
If we click on Toggle Info, we can find some parameters to customize the design. This one, for example. Let's change the padding and the opacity.
Tree map is not limited to two levels of grouping. If the parent has the same type than the color, then the behavior is recursive. For example, let's group the employee and use employee reports to. Now we can see that Andrew Fuller is the superboss, but Steve Buchanan also has some employees that report to him, even if he reports to Andrew Fuller. If we are more interested in the relationships and not that much in the quantity, we can use force graph. Here we can choose the relationship to show by filling from and to nodes. Let's also choose employee and reports to. On the tree map, each node can have just one parent, but here the same entity can have a relationship with many others. Let's group the orders by state instead. As you see, this beautiful star indicates that all the employees have been attending orders in all the possible states.
One annoying thing are the colors of the order states. The default random colors gives us no meaning and are also unstable. So maybe they change if we filter the data or use another chart. Our solution is to use a color palette associated to any entity or enum type. Inside the options of From node, we can see the Create Color Palette button for order state. Let's create one by carefully selecting the colors to mustard yellow, forest green, and ruby red.
Also, we can create a random palette of colors for the employees. But at least it's stable, so every employee will always have the same color. Nice! We can also use the third parameter, link width, to count the number of orders in each case. But the results are unsatisfying. Force chart is to see relationships, not numbers. Let's try with punch card. This is the perfect chart when we are grouping by two orthogonal discrete values and measuring one variable as a result. Here we are grouping by employee and state, just as before, and we can see that shipped clearly dominates. Maybe we can get some useful information by year. What about day of the week? We can also measure another variable using the colors. Let's use the average total price. Whoa! And on a Monday gets orders of more than $4,000. Not bad.
Hey, not that fast. Maybe you're counting cancelled orders.
Let's see where the state of the order is distinct to cancel. You see? They are not cancel.
Yeah, but there are just 5 orders. Average is not reliable with such a low number. Let me remove the groups that have less than 10 orders.
Hey, I didn't know you can filter by conditions of the group too. This is like SQL having.
Yes, you can. And Olmo, please turn back to the basic charts. People would get dizzy with these innovative ones.
Hey, these charts are here because they are useful. But okay, I get it. I had to explain the stacked bars anyway. At the beginning, we were seeing some classical bar charts, like orders by employee. I'm interested what zip method they are using. Let's use multibar and split by zip method. Whoa, Margaret is using unit package a lot. It's the cheapest one for us, but their website is a little bit annoying to use. Well done, Margaret.
Hey, Laura is also using it a lot. In percentage, maybe even more frequently.
Let's see. We go to stack bars, and here is really hard to see, because the chart focuses more in the total sum than the percentage. But if we choose expand, whoa, you're right, Laura uses a little bit more.
I told you. And can we use the stacked lines instead?
Like this? Yeah, but this chart makes more sense for things that can be interpolated, like time or numbers.
Hey, that's what I want. I want to see how the company is going through time.
Okay, let's group by month then. We sort also? Strange.
Month? You can't do that. Month is a number, so January of 2012 has the same value than January of 2013. Use month start instead, that is a date.
Let's see now. Nice, the company is growing. Use the last month is a little bit smaller, because it's not finished. Let's group the orders by state. It makes sense. In the past we only have shipped and cancelled, since ordered is a transitionary state.
Yes, and it has remembered my forest green and ruby red. Let me show you how to make this more beautiful. Here we use wiggle and here basis. Nice?
Really nice. And look how Wiggle tries to reduce the turbulences, so the yellow region stays isolated without affecting the green one.
Could we see that, but day by day instead of by month start?
Let's try. Well, it's beautiful, but you cannot see a lot here. The best way to see information day by day is to use the calendar chart.
We can change the color to yellow, orange, red and change the color scale to square root.
Calendar visualization lets you see tendencies that depend on the particularities of time, like activities in weekends, seasonal changes, and comparing one year with the next year.
We can also use multi-line chart grouping by month and year. And see the tendencies and the missing data because we only have open for 2 years. This data doesn't show any seasonal tendencies, like more orders on Christmas.
Let's play a little bit with the interpolation mode. And we can also choose other scales, like min-max instead of zero-max. This one is the one that the newspaper used to add more dramatism. Let's now try to make stack lines, but splitting by product. It's a little bit more complicated, because now we have this information in the lines of the orders. But we can use element to multiply results. So element.product. Woof, too many results. Maybe by category instead. And using monotone. Beautiful chart. Let's save this one.
With user charts, we can save charts that we are going to need often. After that, we can access them from the interactive chart designer or directly in the Omnibox.
Let's turn back, but now, instead of using orders query, we are going to use order lines. This query is already focused on the lines of the orders. And now we are going to use scatterplot. This chart is nice when you want to compare two numeric values for a set of entities. For each product, we can see how many times the product has been sold against the average unit price.
Instead of count, I will sum the quantity in the line. It doesn't really matter if you buy 10 sandwiches in one order or 2 orders.
You're right. Let's see. Nicer. The products in the right are the most popular ones, while the products in the top are the most expensive.
But all the points are so cramped together. Let's try a logarithmic scale to get a more homogeneous dispersion.
Looks nicer, but still we cannot compare them easily. Let's switch to bubble plot then. And here we can also control the size of the bubbles. I think it will make sense to use the subtotal quantity sum.
Nicer. Here we can see that Côte de Blé is the best-selling product, and Thüringer Rostbratwurst and Raclette Côte d'Avo are similar, even if one is more expensive and the other one more popular.
We can also use parallel coordinates for that. Here we are comparing 3 variables in 3 different columns, and each product is a line. By clicking in one of the columns, we change the coloring gradient to see how one variable affects the other ones. This chart is definitely harder to see, but works with up to 8 different dimensions, while scatterplot can only represent 2 and bubbleplot 3. We don't have that many numeric variables to compare, but we can imagine that if we are choosing a car, one dimension could be the price, the year, max power, top speed, consumption. Let's turn back to bubbleplot and filter by employee. Nice. Then we can see what are the typical products that Steve Buchanan is selling. Let's save this chart, but this time we are going to associate the chart with employees. We select employee in entity type, and then here we can copy the special current entity token and use it as filter value. Now we can access our chart from any employee and get employee-specific data. It's available in the context menus in Search Control or in the entity itself.
Charting shines more when combined with dashboards. Then you can create dashboards with user charts, user queries, list of counters, or code your own parts. Even more, you can associate dashboards to entities and place them embedded in the entity view at the top or at the bottom. Check out dashboards to see more.
And here is where the charting module reaches the highest notes. You can completely redesign any of the available charts or create new ones using chart scripts. A chart script is an entity that represents a type of chart. It defines the structural requirements of a query and contains a piece of JavaScript that represents the results visually using d3.js. The cool thing is that we can edit this JavaScript code in one tab and see the results in real time in another tab. Because we have real data to see the changes, the development cycle is much faster. So let's change the bubbles to be ellipses instead. Once we have modified the chart scripts, we can export and import them using XML. So, if you know a little bit of JavaScript, there is just no limits in what kind of charting you can create. Look at this world map, for example.
Oh, and one more thing. We have been using Signum Web for this presentation, but all these features are also available in Signum Windows.
That's all. We think we have created an innovative and complete solution to charting by classifying, integrating, and making easy to use the most popular data visualizations. We hope you enjoyed the video and thank you for watching.